ha. So here's my reference, and here's how do I know when to start? So here's my key point. I'll take this as a point. So where is it on my boundary? It's right there. And where is it on this side? It's right there. So I'm going to go look at my page, and I'm going to put a mark, and I'm going to put a mark, and I really don't have to. Anyway, that's going to be my peak going up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then it kind of goes down, and I'm not going to try to get too tricky with it. It's kind of that. It's kind of that, and then that. And remember, we went back to Marco's thing about the 3 lines, straight line, C, and an S. Oh, I like that. Okay, so this is where this comes in, and this is where it goes. This is where it goes out. So that's going to help me draw this. And this curve is somewhere in here, so it's there's this much distance between that, and then it starts going off into the distance, and that could be a little lower, and then it exits about down here according to the reference. Now remember back to the C curve. So what is that? That's a big C curve. So I'm just going to do that. And then I see I have this big shadow going on over here, and I have some shadows going on through here and down, and then this is that's kind of a shadow, and then it keeps going on over. That's a little dark in there, and I have some dark along this hill. And then I have this shape, so that's going to go there, and it's going to come out here, so that's somewhere in there. And then I have all these patterns of, I have this shape too. Remember that bowl that we talked about, because once I have my boundaries set up, then I have to draw my light source. And the light's obviously coming from here, and I think it's kind of up here someplace. So there is my light bulb, or there's my sunshine. So that's going to dictate a lot of this. And because it's that angle, I'm going to have a little of this. It's shining right on this, and that's the bowl that I was talking about. So that bowl is really about halfway. And so there's the top of it, and it comes out about here. So there's my bowl, if that makes sense. So that's going to help me with these tree lines when I start putting those in, this guy and these guys. And these tree lines were interesting to me. I'm just going to put in a couple of those. And then I have these trees along the bottom here. And that pretty much, and I want to make sure that hill peeks through over here on this side, because I want to see that continues. I'll make that a little bigger. So that's not bad, I don't think. It's kind of an interesting bunch of shapes. Yes? Yep. Okay. So now what do I do? I'm going to use this as my reference. And I don't know where I got this color, but it's kind of a cool color. This is kind of my Nathan Folks palette. It's a neutral. It's a very warm. It could be sepia. I have no idea. Anyway, it's a very warm neutral. I don't think I have panes on here at all. And I just want to mix a big enough puddle of it so I don't run out. And I want to do this so you guys can see me mix it. So I'm guessing that this is going to be the right value. So all I'm doing is painting everything that's dark or mid-tone. I'm going to paint it gray. So I'm going to leave all my paper. That's going to be all my paper. I did change the sky on my little Photoshop experiment there. So I'm just going to start and I'm going to paint. That's going to be gray. This is all going to be gray down in here. And remember that this tone behind here is going to set up this, it's going to define this hill. And I have another little patch coming down here. I have a, and you don't, this isn't a painting, this is just my value study. So already it's starting to look like something. And I have this coming down, and it starts to define this hill. And then I have another little, I'm gonna make this stuff up as I go along because I want to make sure that I have this shape going on. I think that's pretty good. And this bowl that I talked about had a little bit of tone or value on it. So I'm just going to use the side of my brush to sweep something in so it reminds me that it's there. And then I have a lot of these trees which I may put in or may not put in. This wedge right here, I'm going to keep that as a mid-tone. And these trees, that's going to be part of my mid-tone. And then I have all these little guys going up the hill here. And I'm just using this one big brush, and these trees are going to go right into each other. And we'll define that later with the darks. And I have some little stuff going on up here. And I have a lot of stuff from the bottom here. And I think we're in a very short time. I think we're getting pretty close to my values, my mid-tone values, plus I'm including the darks in there too. Does this make sense to everybody?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Oh, and one thing that we decided to do, which will make this a better painting. So you're the artist, so you have to make this decision. This is a decision I'm going to make. I am going to use Mr. Gravity here. There, I think that shows off the mountains more. What do you guys think? Yep. Okay, so that's my command decision. Yes. So anyway, if you want to do that, I'm going to stop the video. Rolling. Oh, so I have this as my reference. And I'm squinting my eyes, and that's a good way to do it. I'm squinting my eyes, and I'm trying to see the darks in here. And that's going to help me. By the way, squint your eyes, you can see the shapes, get rid of the detail and some of the values. And if you want to see color, if you're on location or someplace, then open your eyes as wide as you can. Anyway, I see darks in here. I see others are obvious darks, but I also see darks in here. So I'm just going to start painting those, and then you'll see that I think it will make a big difference in what our value study is going to look like. And again, I'm not trying to do a painting per se. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to figure out my major shapes, and I think I'll tickle that edge over here. And there's something going on up there, but I don't know what. I'm going to emphasize this hill going down, and maybe just a little more right there. And so that's starting to have some structure to it as far as my light and dark. I see a couple little things over here, but not anything of consequence. I'm going to use a little smaller brush, and I'm going to start putting in some of these this little thing going on down through here, and I see that these trees have patterns to them. These guys are going this way, these guys are going this way, so I'm just going to try to establish that. And I see some and I want to use my darks, and I'm going to establish that little hill going down there, and then that way I can just rough in a lot of these darks that are happening, and leaving some of the white show through. And I see I have this hill here, so I'm just going to again, the way I did here is I'm going to accentuate that value behind, so I see this white shape. And this is actually a fairly easy one, because it's you're just indicating these little rows of distant trees, and I start to mass more of them in here. And I'm thinking of the bigger shapes, because when I actually do this painting, if I decide to do this painting, then it's going to help me figure out if I do want to do it, and I can make my decisions here without having to start doing that while I'm in the middle of a full sheet painting. That would be helpful. Anyway, I can kind of see my light source now, which is up here someplace, and I can start putting in these trees, these closer trees. And I'm just indicating stuff. This little, just to indicate what that tree might look like. And I want to leave that little wedge there for sure. And let's see, I don't want to get too cute with this. I just want to see what the major shapes are. That's kind of my C curve back to that. And I think I'm pretty much done with that, with this. If that makes sense to you, I think I'm looking at it on the monitor, and it makes pretty good sense to me. I'm going to lift this tape so I can see what I have. And I'll re-tape it because I told you I had kind of a surprise that I wanted to do with this, because you can certainly do more with it than this study. So let's try stuff here, so we don't have to try to figure stuff out when we're actually doing a painting, which is what a lot of us find that we predicament that we're in, trying to save something we just started it.